Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're going to get into everything you need to know here on the day, the economic data, the fact that Cineworld is now out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy, as well as the FTD situation, because really today kicks off the first day of massive FTDs that need to be bought back. And then over the next coming weeks, it just kind of ramps up from here. So we're going to get into that information as well. Look at the option activity, look at the short interest, all of that, cost to borrow fees, things that we typically cover in this video that comes out around noon. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comments section. So first things first, I want to start with that Cineworld. They just are emerging from Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and Sarnoff joins the board. Now, I don't know how much of an impact this will have to AMC, but the fact that they're kind of doing better should be good. I wouldn't see this in a negative light either way. Says the movie theater chain and its various parts reduced their indebtedness by approximately $4.5 billion, raised approximately $800 million in new equity capital, and structured new debt financing worth approximately $1.71 billion. And they said, with the strengthened and recapitalized balance sheet, the group is well positioned to pursue future strategic initiatives and continue providing leading cinematic experiences for customers globally, including through investments in new screen formats and enhancements to its flagship theaters, the company said. So I guess you could make a case why this might not be negative, because they're not just closing their doors and forcing everyone to go to AMC. But really, that's not how I think the markets are looking at this. AMC stock is down about 1% today, which is doing a lot better than a lot of the markets, your small and mid cap companies today. Today is not really the best day for your small guys out there. Now let's take a look at what's going on here in the markets today. Job openings. Job openings came in at 9.58 million for June, edging lower from the downwardly revised 9.62 million in May, according to the Labor Department's JOLTS report. Now, this is positive, right? The Fed needs to see the labor market not so tight anymore. They need to see slack in the labor market, maybe is the way to put it. So there's two ways that happens. Either people lose their jobs, and that's not good for the markets. That's not good for a recession, and not good for a lot of reasons. Just morally, that's not good. Or you can have job openings come down. So not as many businesses looking to hire individuals. Nobody's losing their jobs, but they're just not hiring as much anymore. So you've been seeing this. JOLTS job openings went from about 12 million in 2022 now to 9.5 million. So some progress there, but nonetheless, not exactly where the Fed wants to see it. Layoffs nudged down to 1.53 million after totaling 1.55 million in May, and quits also fell noticeably, falling by nearly 300,000 or 0.2 percentage points. A separate report showed the manufacturing sector was still in contraction during July. The ISM Manufacturing Index registered a reading of 46.4, below the 50 level, representing expansion. So this is probably in regards to that manufacturing data that came out. If we go ahead and look at it, what the estimate was, I believe it was 46.8. So let's go ahead and refresh the page and see. I can't remember exactly what this number came in as. Came in at 46.4. So it's not way off expectations, but it was still lower than expectations, which is probably, again, why your small and mid-cap stocks are not doing as well today. Now, you also had earnings. Those earnings, some of them were not so good, that came out in pre-market today. Norwegian Cruise Line, Uber, Pfizer, Caterpillar, Merck, JetBlue, SunPower, Altria, some of these guys were not positive, and that's also a reason why maybe stocks are selling off today, especially your small and mid-cap companies. Now, if we look at AMC specifically, again, keep in mind the stock is kind of flat, down 1%, up 1%. That's basically flat. The FTDs are going to become an even bigger story over the next 2 weeks or so. Today is August 1st. Welcome to August. You have 12.6 million FTDs that did come due today, worth about $51 million. We actually hit the high. We will hit the high on August 10th. So that will be next week. So from now until really next week, midweek, you're going to be seeing a lot of FTDs, and it basically just ramps up a couple 100,000 a day until we get to August 10th. Actually, August 9th is the peak. August 10th is right about the same as well. So, some very big FTD numbers. And this is something to keep on your radar. It doesn't have to be an end-all, be-all. It doesn't have to be the thing that causes the stock to rally, more or less, but should provide some degree of support to the stock. And that's kind of what you're seeing now. The stock's only down 0.5% right now. So AMC stock obviously still on the threshold securities list. The live short interest of free float sitting at 29.65%, 153.08 million shares that are currently sold short. We've talked about this before, and I'll say it again. If retail really owns 80% of the float still, that means the short interest of free float is actually around 150%. So give or take, if we own 70%, then the short interest is around 100%. Either way you put it, it's a lot more than 30% of the free float. That's for sure. So short interest, very high. Cost to borrow fees, again, 142% from Interactive Brokers. Ortex estimates, 360%. Cost to borrow minimum, 306%. Cost to borrow average, 341%. Way higher than Interactive Brokers. Really makes you wonder where they're even getting their numbers from. So quite strange. You're getting a pretty big divergence here. You typically don't see it being that big. Now, if we look at the option activity today, something that is encouraging is you're not seeing those huge trades, those $5 to $10 million trades. They've been puts recently, and you're not seeing that today, at least so far on the day. 5 orders totaling $524,000 with a positive order value of 0%. Still, you're not seeing any bullish option activity, but you're not seeing as much of that bearish option activity. So I would point that out and say that is a net positive on the day because you're so used to all of the bearishness, which really makes you wonder why are we not seeing that kind of option activity already? Usually these videos that are posted around noon have, a couple $1 million at least in bearish option activity to start off the day. Just the first hour or so, you start to get a lot of those $1 million+ trades coming in. You're not seeing that today. Maybe it has something to do with earnings that are going to be coming out here in after hours. Maybe not. AMD will report earnings today in after hours. Devon Energy, Starbucks, Pinterest, MicroStrategy, Elf, Solar Edge, Pioneer Natural Resources, Lumen, and Virgin Galactic. If you guys want to come see the trades that I am making this week for earnings, a big one is obviously Fubo. That one's already done very well. AMD, that's a trade that I just made today on earnings, really playing both ways here. There's talk that maybe Intel took some market share back from them, so we'll see ultimately how that does play out, but that could get pretty dang interesting pretty quickly. So there is that. Now, as far as everything else you need to know, the economic data, we really don't have much for tomorrow. I think the big story is going to be earnings again, right? Even tomorrow in after hours, that's going to be your second biggest day of earnings this week. You're going to get PayPal, Shopify, Qualcomm, Oxy, Unity, Robinhood, Mercado Libre, Energy Transfer, Etsy, APA Corporation. Thursday is going to be the big day, kind of like a break it or make it kind of moment for the markets with Apple and Amazon earnings. If Apple or Amazon have bad earnings, we're in for a problem. But specifically Apple, if Apple is almost 3 times the value of Amazon. So if Apple has bad earnings, it's going to bring the entire market down. Apple's market cap alone is larger than the whole Russell 3000 or Russell 2000 put together. So it's very, very important what happens with Apple earnings. Then you're also going to have Coinbase, Block, Airbnb, DraftKings, Cloudflare, Fortinet, Petrobras, and Wish that also report earnings Thursday and after hours. So if you guys have any trades out there, just be mindful that some of these earnings are going to be very, very important. So AMC stock is actually clawing back as we speak, only down about 2 cents here on the day, which very positive. Not even 1.5 pennies are you down on the day, and you're really looking like you're in a bullish formation, right? You were trading sideways down here. You went up, you essentially gapped up, you gapped back down, you filled the gap, you bounced at the gap fill level, which I'll go ahead and put this on the chart because I think it's a very significant level right here, right? Just think about this logically. Gapped up, came down, filled the gap, found support at the gap fill, and now you're making your way higher. This is textbook for another rally in AMC, really for any other stock. If any other stock does this and you find support at the gap fill level and then you start to move higher, it's usually a very bullish sign. Now, if we take a look at the actual percentage gain from the gap fill low, you're up about 10% from the gap fill level. Earlier in the day, today in the beginning of the day, you were up 15% from the gap fill level. Those are pretty good, returns from the gap fill level so far. At the same time, things have chilled out, such as the RSI sitting at 55.5, not quite as overbought as obviously what you've seen back here on July 24th when AMC did just basically go straight up. If you look at the MACD as well, you're in bullish territory. You're positive on the MACD for the first time since May of 2023. Before that, you weren't positive on the MACD ever since March of 2023. So you're finally positive again. The yellow line as well as the blue line are trending upwards, kind of in line with what you're seeing with the actual price action of AMC. This is happening at the same time the markets are actually coming down. So the S&P is down almost 0.5% today, but AMC stock is almost green. This is a clear divergence on the day that is quite bullish after all. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't want to get too tinfoil hat on you. Maybe we do get a ruling from the courts relatively soon that would explain it, because sometimes they do get little heads up, little warnings before big events, hedge funds, institutions, things of that nature, guys. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Let me know if you think someone knows something just based off of this divergence and outperformance that you're really seeing with AMC stock on the day. Obviously, that could change, but right now, AMC is doing, better than the broader markets. Typically, you would expect to see AMC do 3 to 5 times worse than the S&P, especially if the S&P was down 0.5%. You would expect AMC to be down like 4 or 5%. So we'll see. Obviously, again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have made it to the end of this video. If you guys also want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video for that one. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.